So I have talked a lot about AEW All in London, and you can check out my full playlist on everything I have done about All in London, the big saga that I will. And there'll be more videos coming in the next 2 months as well. But today we're taking a different tactic. We're thinking business-wise. What are the biggest matches AEW could put on to sell out Wembley Stadium? Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about AEW All in London. How can they sell out this event? So, before I dive into that, please hit subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below, and I'll try to apply to every single one of them as we dive into this topic. So, I have done a video about will All In sell out. That video is available on my channel, but here we are looking at matches that AEW could put on that could potentially sell out the stadium. So it's been revealed AEW is up to about 74,000 tickets sold for All in Wembley. It's one of the highest paid attendances in wrestling history, particularly in UK wrestling history. I think it's just behind now SummerSlam 92, and it needs to get to roughly 86,000 to sell out the stadium. There's another 10,000 tickets to shift in about 2 months. Let's not forget, they have not announced a single match for this show. This is all on sort of goodwill and the first time ever experience thing. So, what are the matches AEW could put on to get those extra seats filled? Those extra tasty morsels. It needs 10,000. What could sell out 10,000 seats? Is basically what's happening here. So this is my list. And shall we dive into it of 5 matches that could sell out Wembley Stadium? So I'm cheating a little bit here. I have got 6 matches that I want to talk about. So at number 6 is a triple threat. It's a triple threat because I want to talk about stories and character and how well that does in terms of shifting tickets. Obviously, the Bloodline story is really good, really hot right now, and it's moving a lot. It's moving a lot of merch, a lot of tickets, and I think AEW is on a roll with this MJF Adam Cole storyline, and I want to add a new wrinkle into it. I don't want this to end All In. I'm loving Adam Cole and MJF as a pairing. So instead, I think the match at All In should be MJF versus Adam Cole versus Adam Page. I think adding Adam Page in there, who has history with Adam Cole and history with MJF, could easily make a new dynamic and maybe make Adam Cole and MJF grow closer and really, really extend this buddy pairing of the two to the inevitable breakup that could happen about Winter is Coming. If you really wanted to do that turn, maybe have MJF and Adam Cole invert, maybe have Cole turn on MJF later down the line and Hangman be the crux for that, because Hangman, he lost his title to Punk. He has that history with MJF and he has that history with Adam Cole. I think that storyline wise would work well, and I think if you could really, really go on all cylinders with the MJF and Adam Cole story, you could have a really interesting dynamic here, and adding an extra star in, like Hangman Page, could be really fun. Coming in at number 5, not that I want to see this match, but is one that would probably shift tickets, and that is Chris Jericho taking on Goldberg. Now, I've spoken a lot about Goldberg going to AEW. I think it probably will happen at some point, and I think if you want to shift some tickets, having Goldberg on your card as like part of his farewell tour would be really good. Be really good. A few spears here and there, and I think putting him in there with Chris Jericho, they have beef, real life beef, of course, and playing up on that could just make for a fun nostalgia trip, because I wasn't around for this, but I'm pretty sure in the UK WCW was pretty big. I know a lot of people who loved WCW here in the UK, and they loved, it was available. It was accessible, I think WCW was. I can't remember what channel it aired on. It might have been like Channel 4 or Channel 5 back in the day. But it was available. So there's a lot of nostalgia for WCW. And bringing in someone like Goldberg it only brings money. It only brings money to bring in Goldberg. It probably cost you money, because he's probably very expensive, but it'll bring in a few more casual eyes who've seen him in his later on in WWE as well. So I think there is value to Goldberg being on this card. Coming in at number 4, we have Jamie Hayter versus Soraya. Now, this is purely based on hometown love. Obviously, we all have that affinity for the homegrown UK-born talents, and Soraya and Jamie Hayter are two of the biggest in the world right now. Of course, sadly, Jamie Hayter has had to depart for a few months because of injury, but hopefully she will be fit in time for All In. And I think somehow getting the belt on Soraya and having this be the main women's title match at All In would just be great. I think it's a naturally told story. Maybe you can include the breakup of the Outcasts. Maybe Soraya turns on Toni Storm. Maybe make it a triple threat. Even have Toni Storm in there. But I think the main players in this to sell more tickets and sell more seats is that hometown, patriotic element in there. And I think that is Soraya and Jamie Hayter. I think you can build a really tasty feud going into All In. And this would be one of the better matches that I'd love to see. I think it writes itself, this story. Coming in at number 3, and I've spoken about this before as well, but Sting's retirement match. I think if you really, really want to make All In a staple, a show that everyone will check out, everyone will buy, Sting's final match is something that you can only use once, as seen with Undertaker's semi-retirement. He had multiple retirements, sort of with diminishing returns. You only get retirement once. And in front of one of the biggest crowds he will probably ever be in front of, a crowd that loves him, as I said before in the Goldberg one. Big affinity for WCW over here, big affinity for TNA over here, because that was on free TV, and that was wrestling that I was able to watch as well, sort of in the mid-2000s. So I think it's a big affinity for Sting, and him retiring here, maybe putting over Darby, maybe putting over, I don't know, just anyone in general. That one last ride would shift a few tickets. Having that on a poster, Sting's last match, you're going to sell a lot more seats for sort of casual or lapsed wrestling fans by doing that. So I think it's a perfect place for Sting to do his retirement. He probably doesn't want to retire right now, but if you were to do this, you could easily shift about 10,000 seats. I think it's possible with Sting's retirement. Coming in at number 2, we have hometown boy Will Ospreay taking on, no, not Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson. Now, obviously, Bryan Danielson suffered an injury at Forbidden Door. I'm not quite sure how long he's going to be out. I think it's a few months. I'm hoping he's back for All In, because I know the obvious answer is to do Omega Ospreay 3. Omega Ospreay 3, sorry. But Kenny Omega is tied up in my number 1 pick. This match is a dream match. Again, to my recollection, I'm sure this hasn't happened in the past, like way back. It can't have, surely. I probably would have heard about it. But Ospreay versus Danielson, best in the world who just beat Okada, taking on best in the world who just beat Omega. There's a written story there. And you could even do Blackpool Combat Club, United Empire stuff. There's a lot of things you can do to just put on a great wrestling match and treat it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see these two clash. I know there's a lot of other options for Bryan Danielson, obviously Omega, him versus Omega, him versus Zack Sabre Jr., him versus Okada 2. There's a lot of different elements you can do with Danielson, but I think putting him in there with Ospreay and having Ospreay pick up the win for a great hometown pop would shift a lot more seats for the stadium. Having a big hometown boy like Will Ospreay doing a lot of promotion, a lot of talking about it, it could really get things going, really get the gears in motion for a sellout for Wembley Stadium. And coming in at number 1, I think this is the one. This is the one match that AEW could put on that could, legitimately, I think, sell out the rest of Wembley Stadium. There's one. I think you probably all know what it is. It's probably never going to happen. But the one match that wrestling fans want to see, have wanted to see, and would pay a lot of money to see is Kenny Omega versus CM Punk. It is the one silver bullet left I think, in AEW's gun that could really push Wembley Stadium to selling out at 86,000. It is a once-in-a-lifetime match. AEW fans know the history. You could tell the history between Punk and Omega. It is a one-on-one encounter, the likes of which it feels once in a lifetime. Same way Rock and Cena did, in my opinion. Two generational greats clashing in this one-time match. And I think not doing it is leaving money on the table. Maybe they're planning this way down the line for when they do a stadium show in the US. But if you really want to push this over the line, Omega Punk should be the match you do. Because you think about it, Kenny's probably going to be finishing up with the Blackpool Combat Club stuff after Blood and Guts. There's a 2-month there where you could easily build to Punk versus Omega. You could have FTR versus the Bucks. You could have trios match. You could do all this good stuff. And it sucks that they can't get on because they're leaving money on the table by not doing this match. Thinking about everything like merch, just everything you could do surrounding Punk and Omega, it's the one match that could push this to a sellout. And I do truly believe that. I do. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, that's my list. That was my list of matches that I think could probably sell out Wembley Stadium. But I want to know what matches you guys want to see. What do you think? Do you think the event will sell out in general? Let me know everything you want down in the comments below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.